Marlo and how she went in on Drew. Yo, Marlo went in on Drew so hard. And basically, the reason why, well, I tell you what, I'll tell you, okay, the reason why she went in on so hard is because they had a dinner with all the ladies, and Drew decides whether or not it was the producers. I mean, we can say what it is, but Drew decided to ask Kandi about the incident, the shooting incident at her restaurant, Old Lady Gang. And they declined to speak about it. They didn't want to speak about it. Kandi or Todd wanted to speak about it. And then all of a sudden, because the way Drew said, the incident that triggered Marlo, and Marlo goes, no, the shooting. And next thing you know, Kandi is asking Marlo, well, what about the lady you slash face? What about that? And it just got real messy. So the scene is over, the show is over. I guess I'm gonna say the last few minutes of the recording, Marlo decides to go in on Drew. And basically, at first, she's like, well, I'm going to sit down and you can talk because I don't want to be aggressive. So you talk, you talk. And then, so Drew goes ahead and continues to say what she had to say. And then Marlo is like, and Drew's like, okay, then when I'm finished, this is done. And Marlo is like, no, this is not done. I have my part to tell you. I want you to know how I feel my heart. You feel my heartbeat, how it's beating? My heart is beating that fast. And so Drew like, okay, girl, I'm sorry about all this, And and she said, no. Marlo jumps up and starts to say, you didn't say shooting. My nephew was killed by his roommate. So Marlo is triggered and she asks Drew to touch her heart because her heart is beating really fast. And Drew is like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on. And you could just kind of see Drew kind of trying to calm the situation down and maybe to get out of there. But it just really escalated. And before you know it, Marlo jumps up. She stands over Drew and she tells Drew how she was, she's triggered because her nephew was killed and Kandi didn't send flowers, Kandi didn't do anything. And even though it's been 2 years, almost 3 years, Marlo is still triggered by it. And then so she lashes out and aggressively stands over Drew and yells in her face. And as you can see from the picture, so I want you to see this picture. The security guard is actually almost trying to grab uh, Marlo and hold her back. He doesn't actually grab it. So if you haven't seen the episode, please see it. He doesn't actually grab it, but the way she was so aggressive, and it was like, Marlo, take it easy. I mean, I understand you are hurt, but at the same time, your nephew died almost 3 years ago. If this was a real issue, you should have had a conversation with Kandi. And when I say a conversation, not calling her to let her know that your nephew passed, and you know what I'm saying, and Kandi's like, okay, I'm very sorry. You should have said something when Kandi didn't respond to you like you felt like she should have. Now, who am I to say what Kandi should have done, what Kandi did, what Kandi did not do? Okay, that's not my place. But if something is so important, 3 years later, 2 years, almost 3 years later, you should have had that conversation. You have been in Kandi's space too much. You all are like on a reality TV show. What are you talking about? For 3 years, you didn't speak about this. What it makes you think this is a storyline, Marlo. So let us know. Is this a storyline? Because that's what it looks like. It looks like you are trying to create a storyline. And of course, it includes Kandi. Because why? Kandi gets clicks and views. So if you attach your name to Kandi's name, then what's Marlo gonna get? Clicks and views. So really, this is what your storyline, Marlo. I'm not really sure what is going on with you, but let's listen to Marlo because Marlo seems to have had a lot to say about her nephew and Kandi.
My nephew was shot by someone he met at Old Lady Gang, okay, and that was his roommate. Yeah, well, Quentin. Yes. Yeah. When we had Quentin's funeral, I text Kandi. I said, "Hey, do you know Quentin Sinclair?" She says, "He don't work there no more. Sorry to hear that." On his obituary, he has on a chef outfit, and that's at Old Lady Gang in the kitchen cooking. Quentin was so excited. He was working for Old Lady Gang. So at the funeral, the sea flowers were not delivered, not to send a card. It's just bothered me for years since the ambassador said she never acknowledged it. What would you have said? I'm sorry. What can I do? How can I help the family? That's the proper way. So, my dear, I'm just saying, hold her accountable. What's going on at Old Lady Gang? What happened? Why does Kandi keep having shootings? I don't know, but let's find out.
So really, Marlo, is this your place to find out why Kandi is having shootings? Or are you just trying to be funny? And there again, when someone comes back on you about why are you so, you seem to be so quick to accuse Kandi of pretty much everything. I mean, she can't live around you, Marlo, and that's unfortunate that Kandi can't live because you are very very like keep her name, not just keep her name in the mouth, but she lives in your head. Do you understand when somebody lives in your head, they're taking up space in your head? And as large as those earrings you wear, that's the space that Candy's taking in your head. And maybe you ought to make your earrings a little smaller and go ahead and evict. Let me say that so you can hear me. Maybe you should go ahead and evict Kandi out of that space in your head that she's holding because it's just not allowing you to grow. Not only that, you people who really like you and really people who really want to see you do well. Right now, you're losing them, and I'm one of them. Because again, Marlo, I was like cheering for you. I think you've been on the show for a long time. I do think you put in your time. But if this is the storyline that we're going to get from you, Marlo being so aggressive, being angry, I don't think this is what we want to see. I would love to see about you, not you taking all these pictures, not you dressing, you. Who is Marlo? What do you do on a daily basis? I understand you rent, you have what is it, a car? What is anyway? You have your rental where you rent your clothes, and I know that you're doing very well. We know that you have your nephews, but pretty much more than that, we don't know a lot about you. And with this being a reality TV show, I personally, I don't know if you all are out there. Please let me know. Would you like to know more about Marlo? Because what you're giving, it just ain't giving. You know what I'm saying? It ain't giving. And at this point, people want you off the show for a reason. You're not giving anything. So, with that being said, Marlo, let's get it together because